Let's talk about the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle in humans, which is kind of strange in mammals. We are really only one of the mammal species, one of few that actually engages in menstruation. Most animals go, most mammals go into heat or estrus. They seasonally become sexually active, and that's when they mate and have offspring, right? So menstrual cycle is a little strange, still unclear why it evolved. But anyway, the menstrual cycle has two cycles within one, actually. Something's going on in the ovaries, the ovarian cycle, and something's going on in the uterus, the uterine cycle. And these two graphs are overlaid. I think this is a real good representation of what's going on. Here's the hormones that's going on. Here's what's going on with the egg formation in the ovaries. And here's what's going on in the uterus. Okay? So, for a woman who's not on any type of chemical birth control and has regular menstrual cycles in her reproductive years, it's typically about a 28-day cycle. 28-day cycle. And right in the middle of that cycle, the 14th day is when she ovulates. When she ovulates and when she is most fertile, when she can get pregnant within a couple of days. Okay? So let's follow this pattern right now. So here's a woman's period, her menstrual phase. Okay? Prior to this, it's concluded she's not pregnant and she passes her menstrual flow. Right? Well, the very next cycle, already the female body in her reproductive years is already starting to get pregnant again. So here's the follicle surrounding the egg, and the follicle starts to get larger and larger in the ovary until at the point of ovulation it actually pushes to the edge of the ovary and blisters and then expels the egg into the fimbria of the fallopian tubes. Right? That's when a woman is fertile. And this follicle then sort of becomes what's called the corpus luteum, and it will disintegrate over time if a pregnancy does not happen. But if this egg gets fertilized and becomes an ovum and works its way and implants into the uterus, it'll be the corpus luteum that maintains the pregnancy until the placenta can form. Okay? Now, look what's happening here. So estrogen, turns out, kickstarts everything. It's this rise in estrogen that creates the rise in luteinizing hormone. Remember I said in the last slide, luteinizing hormone peaks just before ovulation. This is the one that modifies a woman's temperature too. And again, like I said, if people are trying to get pregnant, they can monitor temperature to find out when a woman is most fertile when she's ovulating. Luteinizing hormones peaks just before ovulation, then it drops off the scale. Estrogen kickstarts all of this, goes up, comes down, and then it's progesterone and a little bit of estrogen that help to build up this uterine wall. Okay, so that's the surge that happens. Now, the birth control pill is a static dose of estrogen. It prevents the surge from happening, so it prevents this from happening and prevents ovulation from happening. You just get a flat dose. Okay? Now, what's going on in the uterus? In the uterus, we talked about the stratum basilis, this darker orange area, and the stratum functionalis, this lighter orange area, right? So the basilis stays the same throughout the whole cycle, but every reproductive cycle, it's the stratum functionalis that builds up. And it builds up rich with nutrients, hoping that this is the cycle that an ovum will implant, and it can nurture that implanted ovum, and soon it'll become an embryo, and then a fetus, and then a baby, right? So this is the buildup of the stratum functionalis that starts right after the end of the menstrual flow. It starts building up again, and it really surges here thanks to the effect of progesterone until this peak happens. Okay, and if a woman does not get pregnant, this whole layer of the stratum functionalis sloughs off and becomes menstrual flow. All right, so we have the hormone effect, we have what's going on in the ovaries, and we have what's going on in the uterus. I don't care that you know these phrases by name, the proliferatory phase, secretory phase. I just know what's going on in the uterus, know what's going on in the ovaries, know about the hormones, and know the difference between stratum basilis and stratum functionalis.